What if I told you that quitting could be the smartest thing that you could do? Not weak, not lazy, just finally choosing yourself. In today's video, I will be explaining what it actually means to quit, why you should do it, and how it will serve you. Hey guys, if you're new here, my name is JoJo, and I give tips and advice on fitness, health, and a better mindset. I used to be a college athlete who struggled with mental health, confidence, and figuring out who I was outside my sport, but now I'm healed and here to share what I've learned. When you hear the word quit, you think of a negative connotation. The actual definition of quitting is to leave a place permanently, and also defined as to stop doing something. This is a word that can be used for so many different scenarios, so many different instances, and so many different examples, but it's actually what you want it to be defined as. Quitting is never something that we want to do because it means that we gave up on something or we failed at something, which could be true. If you had a goal to lose weight and you stopped after 3 days, I would say that's quitting. You would probably say it's quitting as well. You stopped when something got too hard before you could see if there was a positive or negative outcome. Now, let's say that you had a goal to get a boyfriend or a girlfriend and you got one. You've been in this relationship for about 3 months, but you seem to be getting unhappy over time. But you said you wanted a relationship in your life, so you stick to it. After about a year of staying in this relationship, you've become so unhappy that it is affecting every single aspect in your life and making it depressing and miserable. You stop taking care of yourself because your significant other is draining the life out of you. You started eating unhealthy because that's what he or she was doing. You hadn't seen your best friends in months because you have been only spending time with them. You could see that everything was getting worse by the week, but you didn't want to give up on something when you're so committed to it and have given so much time and effort to. You don't want to quit. What if you did break up after those 3 months? What if you said, even though I want to be in a relationship and this is a goal of mine, this is making me unhappy. I'll find one in the future that can make me happy. You're now healthier, you have stayed close with your best friends, and now you even have a non-toxic boyfriend, all because you made the decision to quit. I should use a different word though, shouldn't I? Nope, you left and stopped something. I played basketball at 2 different colleges. My freshman and sophomore year, I played at a Division I school, and then I transferred for my junior and senior year to play at a Division II school. At my first school, I grew to hate my sport I once loved. When you love something and slowly over time start to lose the joy in it, it can be such a frustrating and depressing process. Deciding to be done with my first school wasn't a second thought, but the decision whether or not to go into the transfer portal was. The transfer portal, for those who don't know, is where athletes could go onto this online portal and the coaches have the option to reach out to them. So if you're not in the portal, then the coaches cannot reach out to you. I truly did not want to play my sport anymore, but I didn't want to say I quit. I knew basketball was not serving me anymore and actually destroying my mental health, but because I didn't want to give up on myself, I went into a really dark state. There can be so many factors to the reasons why you don't want to quit. I honestly had and still do have such a great support system, but it was a personal thing for me. Maybe you have parents and friends that give you pressure and judgment to stay in something that's toxic in your life. Or maybe you're someone like me who found out that I put pressure on myself and I judged myself for giving up on something. And then there's outside factors, like in my example, this was paying for my college. Was I really not going to push through a couple more years just to help my parents out? Even though it was making me go into a really dark state, I could stick it out a few more years. So as we know, it's a big decision and a big deal to quit something. After a few weeks, I decided to go to school as a student and not as an athlete. It gutted me, but I had to choose to save myself. I was lost, confused, regretful at some points because I had literally just changed everything in my life. I had to accept my choice of quitting. It was obvious how lost I was to my parents, so they had to reassure me the best that they could. They actually didn't understand how I couldn't see that I saved my own life by choosing to stop playing basketball. They were the ones that told me what I did for myself was escape. I escaped abuse, trauma, and negativity. Isn't that something to be proud of? I was gonna go to my second school because my parents went there, it was close to home, and I knew a few people there. But then, the coach offered me a spot on the team. It took so much thought, obviously, but in the months that I chose to stop playing basketball, I had already been realizing that I was a lot more than my sport. I started to see potential in myself and what I could do in life and be successful in other ways instead of this thing I've been doing for so many years. Once you stop the negative cycle in your life, you start to heal and grow. Look at it this way. If you try planting a seed in your garden, but your neighbor goes out to your garden every day and steps on the soil right above the seed, it will never grow. But if you plant your seed in a place that your neighbor can't get to and you nurture it the way that you want it to be nurtured, it will grow. Shitty neighbor you got there. And there's gonna be a lot of shitty neighbors with a lot of shitty environments. So you need to ask yourself, how do I get myself into an environment that I could grow in and be happy in? And that's exactly what I did. I committed to my second school with the intention to heal, make basketball not such a big deal, and figure out who I was without my sport. It still took tears and a whole year of basketball to make me love it again, but I had chosen a place that was so perfect. And it wouldn't have happened if I didn't leave my first school, understand that I helped myself by escaping, quitting, and chose to make my environment better. Also, I'm not saying that if you just try something for 2 weeks, you should quit. If you've done all that you could do and you're giving something your full energy and full attention to and it still isn't serving you, you need to move on. And yes, that could literally mean that you're quitting something. But do you now see how that's not a bad thing? Sometimes quitting is actually the solution. Quitting remains as its definition, but in our minds, that definition means to escape and save yourself. Just ask yourself, what makes you motherfucking happy? And do what makes you motherfucking happy. All right, that wraps up story time. Thank you so much for joining me. Be sure to check out my channel on more mindset advice as well as fitness and health tips that I have. And I hope to see you guys again soon. Bye.